Hey, Nick. What are you doing?
Today, we're planting a tree with the Newport Tree Conservancy. We have this wonderful weeping cherry that we got from a local wholesale nursery, and we're going to plant it here at the Edward King House in Newport. So we just took this out of the pot. We could see that we do have some roots that are circling. You're going to get that in all of your containers. But the good news is that we see lots of little white tips. This means that the roots are good, they're healthy, they're growing. It's also really early in the spring, so you're not going to see a lot of new root growth. Roots like the ground to be around 45-50 degrees at the minimum. Below that temperature, they don't really grow. So we don't anticipate seeing a lot of new white roots because the ground isn't that warm. But we do see some, so that's a good sign. So what we want to do to rectify some of this issue is we do want to cut the roots. Okay, cutting roots is not a bad thing when it comes to plants. Cutting roots is very similar to cutting shoots up here. And as you can see with these branches, you get the same kind of response when you cut roots. So if you cut a root, you'll get these little nodes behind the root to branch out and get a more fibrous root system. So we're gonna come in here and we are gonna tease these roots apart. We are gonna cut them. It's not a big deal. The tree isn't gonna panic. It's not gonna die. Another thing now is if we put it in the hole, we look like we're high, but we're not. So what I want to do is now we come in, and now is where we really want to find that root flare. So we'll come in, and what we'll do is we'll dig down. You can use a little garden rake, or kind of use my hands for everything. We want to look for that first nice big root coming off. We have some small ones, but we want to find that nice root flare. We don't want to tear the ball completely apart, but we do want to see, and as you can see as I'm going down, we see that it keeps getting thicker and thicker. That's that beautiful flare that we see on our older trees. You know, all trees have that flare. Trees should never look like a telephone pole coming out of the ground, because they have root systems, they have flares, they have taper. That's what makes a good strong tree. So by seeing these nice major roots, this is where our flare is. This is where we want the top of our soil to be, is right here, and we're pretty close to where we want to be. So now we can start the backfill. Again, I always like to break up the sides a little more. And it also makes it easier so that I get soil down into the bottom of the root ball instead of just throwing it on top and having these voids. I kind of make sure that I have the spade down there. I am going to water, and the water is going to help. You know, if we have any air gaps, the water will kind of show them for us. So I do like to give the tree some water before I do a final grade or mulching. It'll also show me too if I have any issues with my ring, or if I'm going to have a lot of washout when I do have a good rain event. I'm not going to come in here and really stomp my foot in there or really take the shovel, because what that's going to do is that's just going to compact the soils that I've been trying to avoid. And again, I'm not worried about these because I am going to come in here with some mulch, and I'm going to mulch probably a couple inches, but a couple inches down here equates to having mulch just right where that root flare is. Again, there's no girdling roots here. If we had, you know, if this tree was in a container this deep and it had a big girdling root right here, so if this root, instead of growing out that way, grew across, we'd have no way of rectifying it. So that's why we like to just check the top. We don't like to take the entire root ball and rip it apart, because then we have a bare root tree, and if the tree's in leaf, we probably killed it. Because, you know, we dried out the roots, but we do want to try and maintain that these roots up top are in pretty good shape and promote good growth. So, good flare. I don't see any major voids. If I did, I'd come in here and I'd bring in a little bit more soil, but if not, then we can start the mulch. Now we're going to mulch. So this is a pine bark mulch. This has a mixture of pine and probably some hemlock, judging by the color. If it was pure pine, it would probably be darker. If it was pure hemlock, it would probably be a little bit more orangey. This makes a really good mulch. There's no dye in this mulch. I know a lot of popular mulches are kind of dyed wood chips, which are okay, but they will fade over time. And there's no chemicals in this mulch. So we're gonna use this. We're just gonna do, again, just a simple 2-inch layer, but we're gonna cover these roots over. We're not even gonna see them when we're done. We're not gonna put this big mound here. Another thing, once you've planted your tree, you know, just look at the top. If you see any branches that look like they might be trouble, like they're crossing or they're broken, now's the time to prune them off. With a weeper like this, there's a lot of branches really tight together. It's kind of hard to eliminate every branch that might be touching, as if this was an open scaffolded tree. So I'm a little more prone to leave more branches in a weeper like this, whereas if this was a tree that was going to be a large beech tree at some point, I might be a little more aggressive at thinning it out to give it some more room. So, tree planting and mulching 101.
All right. Nick
Yeah.
Castrotaro, horticulturist for the Newport Tree Conservancy. Thank you so much for helping us to learn how to plant this gorgeous fountain of snow here at the Edward King Center.